Hey everyone, it's July 13th, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share it with serial killer Genene Jones, who may have killed as many as 60 infants in the 1970s and 80s, and that is her right up there. Jones was immediately given up for adoption upon her birth in 1950, and her new parents also adopted 3 other children around the same time. Her father was a gambler that owned several nightclubs, but was a less than exemplary father figure, being arrested for burglary when Jones was just 10. Charges were dropped, but his life in the nightclub business was over, and he started a billboard company, often taking his daughter with him to work, which was the only time she got any attention from her parents. She started pretending to be sick to get people to take care of her, and became known as a liar and manipulator as a teen. When she was 16, her brother built a pipe bomb that exploded in his face, killing him. Jones started drinking heavily at this time and was determined to get married to get out of the house. Her father died of cancer the next year, and shortly thereafter she married a high school dropout after telling him that she was pregnant, which was a lie. Her husband joined the Navy, and they were both unfaithful to the relationship from the start, with a divorce coming shortly after the two had a child of their own. She was pregnant with a second child and went to beauty school in an attempt to achieve some stability in her life, and then her older brother died of cancer, making her fear that working with the chemicals and hair dye could be dangerous, and decided to pursue a career as a nurse. Jones became a licensed vocational nurse and bounced between medical clinics in San Antonio, being fired from her first place of employment for trying to diagnose patients, which was outside the scope of her duties. From the start, she seemed to get the most enjoyment from her work when she felt needed, especially when she was hired to work in a pediatric intensive care unit. Children began dying on her shifts, with more than 20 sudden deaths in the intensive care unit that seemed to come from out of the blue. It turns out that from the very start of her nursing career in 1977 that she would inject infants with drugs that induced medical crises so she could revive them and play the hero. She would use drugs that gave them heart paralysis, necessitating CPR that she would administer. An investigation in 1981 determined that she likely had given a young boy an injection that led to his death, but the hospital was reluctant to admit to anything that might bring them bad publicity, so she was allowed to simply resign. A doctor with whom she had previously worked opened a pediatric clinic at a rival facility, and she was hired on despite that doctor being warned that she was likely responsible for the deaths of multiple children. Jones continued to inject drugs into children and was only caught in 1982 when, after a child died, the doctor noticed puncture marks in a bottle of a paralytic drug. An internal investigation showed that she had been using the drug to poison babies under her care. Jones was convicted of 1 count each of murder and attempted murder in 1984 and sentenced to 159 years in prison, but she is believed to have killed as many as 60 infants over her 5 years working as a nurse. In 2018, she was scheduled for early release due to prison overcrowding, but to avoid that, new charges were filed in the deaths of multiple infants, causing her to plead guilty and accept a life sentence. Jones sits behind bars in Texas and will likely never be released, and is reportedly one of the inspirations for the character of Annie Wilkes in Stephen King's Misery. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know somebody whose birthday it is today, send them this video so I can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Genene Jones, I say, happy birthday, you